Hey there, my pretties. It's the Queen of Lions here. Now, today, this is episode 127 of Shadows and Pretties. And today, since December is near, I know we're halfway through November. I decide to sit there and, get started on, very much about Christmas movies. Today, I'm going to be doing a review on this Christmas movie called Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's a slasher film involving a serial Santa Claus killer, like a fake Santa Claus, but it's like a serial killer sort of way. This one came out in 1984, the original one. Now, I know there is a 2012 remake of it, and I really found out that they're going to release a 2022 version of it. Of course, there is a series of Silent Night, Deadly Night, but I'll be talking about them a little bit, but I'm mainly gonna focus on this first one. I'll talk about the other ones in the near future, but at that time I will go from there. So now this movie came out in 1984, and this movie is a slasher film. Now, you probably know what a slasher film is. Like, for example, there's like a lot of controversy and censorship going on at that time. Like, for example, in the film, it's one of the most controversial films of the 1980s due to its advertising campaign and significance of the killer being dressed as Santa Claus. But of course, this film fought to have this film removed from the theaters due to the subject matter and due to the fact that it was shown around Christmas time. Although the earlier film was premised as, well, Christmas Evil. That one came out in 1980, has gone unnoticed. But yeah, with all the controversy and all that has been going on with that movie, the film was originally released on VHS throughout USA in 1986, and in 1987, the film was re-released on VHS tape by International Video Entertainment. The film's home video rights were transferred to Avid Home Entertainment, which was released that year in 1991. Of course, it was released 3 times on DVD in the United States by Anchor Bay, and the first release was a double feature disc. Well, of course, there has like other sequels such as Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 and all that. I will be going through all those, just naming the other Silent Night, Deadly Night remakes and sequels, but I'm not going to be going too much into detail on those because I want to make other videos talking about those. So, of course, with that being the case and with that being said, I think I should go ahead and explain what Silent Night, Deadly Night really is, in case if you guys haven't watched the movie in like a really long time, and in case if you guys haven't, watched the movie yet. But if you don't want any spoilers, I recommend get off of this get off of this video and watch the movie if you haven't. So, now the plot begins in 1971, where a 5-year-old boy named Billy Chapman, who and his family were visiting a nursing home in Utah, where his Catholic grandfather stays. Now, his grandfather suddenly awakes and tells Billy to fear Santa Claus, as he gives presents only to the children who have been good all year, and punishes the naughty. So on the way home, a man dresses as Santa in a suit shoots Billy's dad and attempts to violate his mother and slashes her throat with a switchblade. So Billy flees and hides, leaving his baby brother Ricky in the car. Now, 3 years later, in December of 1974, 8-year-old Billy and 4-year-old Ricky are celebrating Christmas in an orphanage run by Mother Superior, and a strict disciplinarian who strikes children who misbehave considers the punishment to be a good thing. Sister Margaret, who sympathizes with the children, tries to help Billy, but he is regularly punished. On Christmas, the orphanage invites a man in a Santa Claus suit to visit the kids. Billy punches the man before fleeing to his room in horror. 10 years later, in the spring of 1984, Billy turns 18 and leaves the orphanage for a normal life, obtains a job as a stock boy at a local toy store, thanks to sister Margaret at the store, and he develops a crush on a co-worker named Pamela, who he has some thoughts which are often interrupted by morbid visions of his parents' murder on Christmas Eve years ago. The employee who plays in the Santa store in the Santa Claus is injured, and Billy's boss, Mr. Sims, asks him to take his place. So after the store closes, the staff has a Christmas party, and Billy, who is still in a Santa Claus suit, tries to have a good time, but keeping the memories of his parents' murders, causing him to feel depressed. So he sees his co-worker Andy making out with Palma as they walked into the back room. Billy walks in after them and sees Andy trying to do something really messed up to Palma. This finally triggers his insanity as he hangs, Andy with a string of Christmas lights and uttering that the punishment is good and stabs Palma. So the next Billy murders Mr. Sims and his manager, Miss Randall. Sister Margaret discovers the carnage and returns to the orphanage to seek help. So Billy breaks into a nearby house where a young couple named Denise and Tommy were going at it, and a little girl named Cindy is sleeping. So he impales Denise with a set of reindeer antlers and throws Tommy through a window. When this wakes in Cindy, Billy asks if she'd been nice or naughty, and she says nice, and he gives her a knife that he had used earlier. After this, he witnessed this bullies picking on two teenage boys and decapitates one of the bullies with his axe. The next morning, the orphanage is secured with the Officer Burns and Captain Richards, aided by Sister Margaret, who knows that Billy is committing the murders. The death of Pastor their father Robren, who is dressed in a Santa outfit, is shot by Barnes, making him to be Billy. Barnes is often axed by Billy, but of course, Billy confronts Mother Superior on how now the wheelchair. She taunts Billy due to her disbelief in Santa Claus. Just as she prepares to kill her, Richard shoots him. Billy utters to the children, "You're safe now," and Santa Claus is gone, before succumbing to his wounds. 14-year-old Ricky, coldly staring at his Mother Superior's, utters "naughty," and that's the movie ends. Now, I mean, this was actually a pretty good movie for what this is. It's a slasher film. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I really found this movie to be, quite amazing. Now, I mean, I remember watching this movie like a bunch of times, and it didn't really bother me as much as I was kind of expecting it to bother me. This movie didn't really bother me as much as I was expecting to. I mean, I'm used to seeing, slasher films and all that, so I'm used to seeing, more of this to go on. Now I did talk about, the releases and all that. I decided, what? Let me go ahead and, basically sit there and do basically doing another part, not part, but another for, good chunk of, the Silent Night, Deadly Night series. Now, Silent Night, Deadly Night is the first movie of the film series, Silent Night, Deadly Night series. Now, originally titled as Slave Ride, but it tells the story about Billy, a young man who experiences a psychotic break, goes on a murder spree dressed as Santa Claus. Now, the film received some favorable distribution from TriStar Pictures, but it was pulled from theaters in November of 1984 after the series of protests against the film. Of course, there are other films regarding about this movie. Now, for example, there is a second film that came out in 1987 called Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. Now, I do plan to make a separate video talking about that because it basically is a part 2 of it. Now, it continues the story about Billy's younger brother, Ricky, who goes on a kill murder spree, but is largely made up of flashbacks featuring footages from the first film. Now, the third film, which is another Silent Night, Deadly Night movie that came out in 1989, which is called Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Better Watch Out, was released a direct-to-video movie. As for the next two films, that concludes Billy and Ricky's storyline and follows Ricky as he stalks, blind woman on his way to grandmother's house on Christmas Eve. Now there is a fourth Silent Night, Deadly Night movie that came out in 1990 called Silent Night, Deadly Night 4 Until apart from the Killer Santa storyline centering around the feminist cult in Los Angeles, California, who are planning to do a ritual sacrifice directed by Brian Unenza, or something. Yuzna, I'm sorry if I pronounced his, last name incorrectly. And the film features, special effects by Screaming Mad George. Now, the fifth film of it, which of course came out in 1991, which is called Silent Night, Deadly Night 5, The Toy Maker, that starts Mickey Rooney, who is the voice of Todd in The Fox and the Hound, as a toy store proprietor whose brands of toys come to life and murder their owners. Now, in 2012, there is a loose remake of the original film entitled Silent Night, which is a remake of the 1984 Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. Now, of course, the remake of it did seem pretty interesting for, what it is. I mean, look at the front cover of this. Like, look at Santa, holding, a flamethrower there. That's pretty terrifying, but pretty messed up in general. Now, it is said that the film is to receive a theatrical release of the remake of part 2 of Silent Night. So, I really have to say, I really do think, all these movies did pretty good. Although my favorite one would have to be the first Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, because it's a classic. It's a horror classic movie. I mean, yeah, if you like it, that's fine. If you don't like it, that's understandable. I mean, the other Silent Night movies, I do plan to make more of them, but they will be in separate videos, as if I were to sit there and, go through with them and all that, I mean, it would be very long to sit there and, do so. But, okay. I guess with that being said, I'm gonna sit here and say that it was released on VHSs, DVDs. I mean, it's a pretty good, concept, with someone dressing up as Santa Claus, going out and killing people. I mean, it's kind of I think it's most likely an inspiration from, Freddy Krueger, who is a nightmarish person who goes around and slashes and kills people. Same thing with, Jason from Friday the 13th and etc. I mean, there's, other characters that do that too, but I mean, it's kind of messed up, to be completely honest. With that being said, I actually find this movie to be, a pretty good, slasher film. I mean, yeah, it's messed up at times, because, especially with the deaths, I mean, it's messed up, but I still find this movie to be, rather good for what it is. So, I will do the other Silent Night, Deadly Night movies in the future. I will do the other ones, such as the second movie, which is part 2, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, the fourth movie, and I will also do the remake of it as well. But those will be in different videos. Because if I were to talk about it right here, the video would just be, extremely long for what it is. I mean, yeah, sure, it's a pretty good movie for, if you like slasher films and all that, that's perfectly understandable. If you like slasher films, then I recommend this movie. If you like slasher and horror movies, then this one is best for you. So, anyways, I guess with that being the case and that being said, this is just simply my own opinion on, this movie, the first Silent Night, Deadly Night movie. I will be reviewing the other ones in the near future, just don't know when. Oh, excuse me, pardon me about that. If you happen to disagree with me and you don't like any of these this movie, that's perfectly fine too, because we're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these movies. This is just my thoughts. I found this movie to be, enjoyable. It's an enjoyable movie, and, I really do think that the movie itself actually has a pretty good concept for what it is. So, I'm going to sit here and say this right now that, yeah, what did you guys think about this movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night? Did you like did you like this movie, which is the original one? Do you like it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make the movie better. Feel free to leave me now what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, everybody. And I'll see you all next time.